Hey everybody, we are at the halfway point basically for the fall production list, which is a bit crazy to me to think that we've already hit that. The purpose of today's video, I wanted to get a chance to just cover where everything's at, let everybody be updated, and get an idea of what's going on, and see a bit of that progress. Because to be honest, starting to work on this, I expected to make a couple updates, but I was kind of shocked at how much we've actually gotten done so far. In this trimester. So I'm really excited to go over that and let everybody know what we're working on. So just a little bit of an overview. So this was the production list that we had made for this season. And so a few things have shifted. Overall, we're making pretty good progress. We have met most of the deadlines that we had hoped and set for ourselves. Most things are largely on track. We're a little bit behind on the production of the birds and the bees, but I think we're really starting to make some good headway on that right now. And the LinkedIn project is a little bit behind, but that shouldn't be too big of an issue because we're catching back up, and I think that we'll have everything done by at least the end date we wanted it done by. And I think what we're starting to make there is looking really cool. So, just a little bit of that overview. We changed a couple of things. We have adjusted at a couple points, but looking at that, everything seems pretty well about where we want it to be. We might be a little bit behind on the first draft for the high school project, but not by much. We're doing a lot of work on that right now, but I'll get there. So besides that, so the birds and the bees, I said this one we're a little bit behind on, but I think we're doing some really cool stuff with it. So we've been testing filming. For this project, we decided that Kale was going to probably be the best one to present it. To reach and connect with parents in Missouri, it needed to be from another parent. It needed to be from somebody that could connect and relate to that population. So if you know anything about Kale, he doesn't have what I would say is a light workload at the moment. So the fact that he's willing to help us on this project is a really big deal. So what we've been doing is starting to record the first couple videos, reading the script as is. So we spent a lot of time going back and editing the script and going, how do we reach that health literacy level that we know the population's at? The problem is when we use software to do that, it kept coming back too low. It was massively altered. It became really clunky. And so what we decided to do was start just filming and see how it sounded. And so there's a free software called VideoAnt, developed by University of Washington, I believe, where you can upload a YouTube video and people can go through and make comments. So you kind of see back there, I've got my comments on. You can tell they're mine because I'm referencing LeVar Burton. But we're going through and going, all right, so here's what's working, here's where it doesn't quite flow. And it's been really helpful to see it that way, because there's things that make sense on paper. In reading, it sounds really good to read it, but when you say it out loud, that's where you can tell that it's kind of clunky. We're going through, we're making those comments, we're getting other eyes on it, and we hope to start turning those into videos that can be utilized and connected with our media production. We've been working with Hoot Design on the social media graphics. Those are coming in really well for the Art of brand. They've been making some very cool stuff, so I'm excited to show that off soon as well. On our high school education series, we're still working on that first draft of the project. You can see behind my text here in the PowerPoint those 32 pages at the moment, and that they're riddled with comments and changes and alterations and that fun giant editing process. We currently have, like I said, about 32 pages of information, narrative, notes, and text that we're all working on trying to bring that together into a singular narrative that can become the next video series. We've connected with Columbia Public Schools. Patty Cornell, who oversees health education for all of the schools, the middle schools and high schools, has been gracious enough to be a part of this process. He's looked at our outline, discussed what's going to be most useful for the schools, and we really want them on board in this process so that, because we want to make something that they're going to use that's going to be effective for teachers. We don't want to cover stuff that they already covered. We want to make sure that we're covering different information or in a different way. And so we're looking at covering all of that. Our main topics right now, we're discussing STIs. We're discussing how they're transmitted. We're discussing contraceptives and how to access them, the pros and cons of each of them. We're discussing communication and consent and discussing relationships with partners and how you do that. We're discussing sexual orientation and sexual identity, and covering a very large amount of information. So really trying to figure out how we bring that all together. I'd like to have this within the next week or two tops, be at least a written clunky draft that we'll keep editing for the rest of this trimester, and get that over to Columbia Public Schools to get them to take a look at it and let us know what they're thinking of it at that point. So we're still working on that. That's one's been really exciting and fun to work on. World AIDS Day. So we're still chipping away on that one. This year we set that for November 30th. World AIDS Day itself this year is on a Sunday night, and the more we looked at it, we just didn't think that we'd get a real turnout. There was a little bit of concern and discussion about the date because it's so close to Thanksgiving. There's actually a website you can go to, and it shows all of the World AIDS Day events across the globe and what is everybody doing for it. And as we looked at it, really what we noticed was that everybody was basically doing it on the 30th. Nobody was doing it after. Some people were doing it a little bit earlier than that, like the Friday, the 29th. We thought that the 30th would probably make the most sense. So we set that for the 30th. One of my favorite drag queens in the world, Aida Buffet, has agreed to host again this year. Aida does a wonderful job, and I think is the perfect host for this event. So I'm so excited to have her back and hosting again. We are currently in the middle of setting. We believe everything should be with the Bernie Sisters to be our headline this year. They're awesome. They do great music. I think that they're gonna draw a really big crowd, so I'm really excited for that. You know, one thing that we're planning on trying to put together as well, and so this really has come up recently, this is my goal at least, is we wanna develop a kind of PowerPoint background presentation. And have somebody speak and go over really, you know, the last 25 years of HIV in Missouri and what Spectrum's done and our impact and how things have evolved and changed over the last 25 years. I think that that would be a really powerful audio visual presentation to show and really look at what that means and what's happened. So we're looking at putting that together as well, and I'll keep everybody posted as we're working on that. We are going to probably look at having Sidebar again, doing food. They've always done a wonderful job and worked really well with us. And we are at Cafe Berlin again this year. So our LinkedIn project. So this one, I think this one's a really fun project. We're looking at really right now developing our slides and presentations. We want to do video presentations like this with the goal of looking at how to best integrate and help train our intern population on using LinkedIn. Our primary goals are to help establish lasting connections. You know, I think about the interns that we've had, and we've had some really amazing interns work with us that have done some really cool stuff and have gone on to do some really cool stuff. And I want them to be connected with us as they move forward. And so I think one of those goals is to develop a lasting connection with those that spend time working with us, both on the self-centered reason of I think that that's powerful for the agency, but on the personal level too, if I want to be a part of that. I want to be able to cheer them on when they graduate med school and when they go do the awesome stuff that they go to do. And so we want to connect and build those lasting connections. You know, we've already started to talk to a couple different agencies that are interested in hiring out our interns as they complete their internships with us. So this is the best place to establish those connections. And so helping set that up so that we can kind of farm and help people connect to different positions as they complete their internships. And building portfolios. Our interns do a lot of work with us, and they help create some really cool material, and they deserve an ability to show that, and an ability to connect that in a way. And we looked at different portfolios, and this is just where things are at. And it made the most sense as we move forward with the new Spectrum website to be able to put our projects up and show them how to connect and link that to their profiles. So we hope to have this done by December 13th. I think that we should. And I think that this will not only be informative and helpful for our intern population, but for our staff, for anybody else, to our board, anybody that's interested in working on developing that LinkedIn profile. Our research, my bread and butter, my pet project. So we're having a lot of fun with this one. It is always a crazy all over the place project. So we've done a few things. So we wrapped up doing a case study. So we went and took one interview and looked at specifically what is that individual's story? What is their narrative? What have they experienced? For those of you that aren't familiar with what our research is, we interviewed individuals that are HIV positive on retrospectively looking back and going, how much did you know about HIV? How adequate was your education? Were you surprised with your diagnosis? What could have made a difference? What works in our community? What doesn't work? What do you disagree with? We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about legislation. We talked about intervention strategies. We talked about Spectrum and the health department and what's out there and how do they feel about that. And so we took a single person's and we've turned that into a narrative to help explain the story of what this is. And so we finished that up, and we've been working for the last couple of weeks on our literature review, going over all of the research in regards to HIV, specifically in rural communities and in retrospective analysis. Because one of the things that's really been important to us as we've done this research and we've done the different projects is it's become so abundantly clear that there is a different need in our community. And the CDC and different agencies, they love to promote these fabulous, well-funded interventions and go, do these. They are proven to work. And they're extremely effective in San Francisco and New York City and Chicago. But then you implement them in Mexico, Missouri, and they blow up in your, they're not built for us. And so we're looking at what that means and what is a rural intervention and what are interventions that meet our non-metropolitan areas and actually are tailored and developed for the people that they're meant to serve. And so that's what we've been working out with this one. So we have finished up the first draft of that lit review, and I've sent that off for some peer review to get a little bit of feedback on it, and hopefully some other researchers give us some thoughts before we move into the second draft of the lit review. The other thing we're going to work on in the meantime is we're going to start developing a worksheet to cover journal opportunities and look at where we want to publish our research. So we're going to start going through publications. Our goal overall with this project is to have a full written research paper by the end of the year. And so while we've been doing this with our interns, I've been working with Dr. Robinson over at the School of Social Work. We've been writing 2 other sections. So we've been working on the methodology and the results sections. So hopefully we can bring those all together, and then we can start working on the discussion with our team here at Spectrum and have one full paper from there. We will also be going to Philadelphia in just about a month's time to present this research to the American Public Health Association. So I'm very excited for that as well. So I just wanted to take a second, though, before I wrap this up, to thank all of our interns that have been a part of this project. This doesn't work without a team. And we've had some really amazing help. We've had a really cool people working with us. You know, thank you to all the interns that have helped on the various projects and for what you do. And if there's anything you need from me, let me know. Thanks to Nikki and Vicky for coming in and helping us with World AIDS Day and being a part of that project. If anybody has any questions about what we're doing or where we're going, please feel free to reach out to me. If it was helpful to have an overview update of where everything's at, let me know. If not, let me know as well, so I can kind of figure out how often to do these updates. But I thought that it would be helpful to see everything going on. So thank you all again, and I hope everybody has a phenomenal weekend.